Riders out the darts of the plan. Who stole that made an art of the man? The new knowledge of power. My boy prayer. Knowledge is power, and power is knowledge. Break the chains and experience the knowledge. Find power in power, and truth in knowledge. Once you know, no one can take your knowledge. I read book after book, studying the power, spent hour after hour, learning black power, destroying lie after lie. For the power, found self in these pages of conceptual power. I found the truth and I'm not letting go. Frederick Douglass and Booker T found power. Nat Turner found truth in his darkest hour. Mama Harriet set us free and stood for we. In these pages I found power in our history. UEP birthed the panther in me. In me, never let a fascist pig carry me, not me. Revolutionary thoughts, all I read. Normal for my soul, keep my spirit on high. Revolutionary thought is always on the rise. Yeah, is always on the rise. Love. Knowledge is power, and power is knowledge. Break the chains and experience the knowledge. Find power in power, and truth in knowledge. Once you know, no one can take your knowledge. I read book after book, studying the power, spent hour after hour, learning black power, destroy lie after lie. For the power, found self in these pages of conceptual power. Our problem was never us, our problems was them. Them being the ones who robbed and took us, kings and queens, nation builders. From stolen legacy to Anthony Browder, building institutions with black knowledge. Build black libraries for black scholars, building black minds, urban philosophy, urban black reads, every one place. Black-owned bookstores, we support your space. To all black authors, we give much thanks. Knowledge is power, and power is knowledge. Break the chains and experience the knowledge. Find power in power, and truth in knowledge. Once you know, no one can take your knowledge. I read book after book, studying the power, spent hour after hour, learning black power, destroyed lie after lie. For the power, found self in these pages of conceptual power. Our problem was never us. Our problem was never us. Our problem was never us. Ooh. Knowledge is power, our power is knowledge. Break the chains and experience the knowledge. Find power in power, and truth in knowledge. Once you know, no one can take your knowledge.
Let me fix this real fast, family. Let me fix this real fast. Peace and black excellence, family. Welcome to another powerful discussion with your sister, Dr. Ma'at. Family, you see the title. Do black people misrepresent black history? Dr. Ma'at corrects Godfrey's misinformation. And I'm doing it on the first day of Black History Month. Family, today we celebrate 50 years of Black History Month. 100 years of Negro History Week will be celebrated on February the 7th. Ashe. Negro History Week was established on February the 7th, 1926. That's when our great ancestor, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, established Negro History Week. And then we know that it evolved, of course, because of sustained advocacy. It evolved into Black History Month in 1976. Why is Dr. Ma'at reciting this history, family? People are running around on the internet saying happy 100th Black History Month. And the argument is, well, Carter G. Woodson's organization, which is now called the Association for the Study of African-American Life and History, which was actually Negro life and history when he established it. But anyway, they're saying that they don't disconnect the two. And I'm saying that that's not historically accurate. And that's not moving with intellectual integrity, because the scope of our ancestors' work was he started the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History that was founded in 1915, and he established Negro History Week in 1926. And because of what our ancestor did, we built on top of that. And so now we have Black History Month, and now we have the Association for the Study of African-American Life and History. So we have to be accurate here, family, when we tell our story. So please don't let anybody on the internet convince you that we're celebrating 100 years of Black History Month. We're celebrating 50 years of Black History Month. And on February the 7th, we will be celebrating 100 years of Negro History Week. You know, we got to be honest about our history. We have to be intellectually honest, family, right? And I see someone in the chat said, respect to the ancestors. So I see that my audience family is in the building. Let me shout you all out real quick. I see our great Baba Gregory Terrence is in the building. He said, Abibi Fahodie, Dr. Ma'at, as you often say, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And of course, one cannot properly represent what one does not understand. Ignorance is vincible, but stupidity is a choice. Ashe. That's the words of our elder, our Baba. He said, let's see what today brings. Peace and love to your family. You changed your name. You changed your name, moderator. You changed your name, man. Tim Jones said, peace to the chat. Hope everyone is well mentally and physically. Sending that back to you, family. My mother's in the building. She said, peace and blessings to the family. I've been telling her about this presentation all week. So we got Mama Ma'at tuning in, family. She's in the building. I see Sister Sherry Shabazz, Queen Mother Sherry Shabazz is in the building. She says, peace and blessings to the family. Seventh Son is in the building. He says, peace to you, beloved. Andre Brown is in the building. He said, will Godfrey be on the show? Oh, man, is that why you tuning in, brother? Someone said, happy Sunday. Any I don't? Hold on. It says, what did it say? Peace to all. Happy Sunday to you. The Streets 5351 said, peace, Dr. Ma'at, peace and love to you. And I see the great Dr. Craig Samuels is in the building. He said, peace, Dr. Ma'at, peace to you, warrior. I hope to see you in a couple of weeks, warrior. Who we have right here? Who do we have? Layus the One says, peace, shalom, Hotep Goddess and the family. Blessings to you. I see Tiff is in the building. Tiffany Stew. She said, peace, queen, peace to you. Peace to you, beloved. And he says, you know what else is profound, Dr. Ma'at? Maxwell's father was the CEO of Wow Hill when Dr. Woodson wrote the book. He was right. We are miseducated, but on purpose. Facts. Oh, he said YouTube changed it, but I'll change it. Okay, I got you, warrior. We have Jay Williams in the building. Habari Ghani brothers and sisters from Boston. One love, Africans. Peace and love to you. And Andre said, LOL, no, but yeah. Oh, man, well, let me tell you this. Let me be honest with you. I did invite him because I told him I was going to talk about him. And I'm not one of those type of people, contrary to what they say on YouTube. If I'm going to have a conversation about you and about the information you put out there, I extend the invitation to you. And so I did extend the invitation to him, and his boy responded. I don't know if you're familiar with his co-host, Dante. Dante actually called me because I sent the flyer to Dante. He's like his co-host on his podcast. So they are aware that this conversation is happening tonight. I sent him the link and I said, you are more than welcome to join. So if he pops in, great. But if he chooses not to pop in, I'm still going to do my show. All right. So family, do me a favor. Thumb up this video real quick. Thumb it up. Also share this information. It's going to be powerful tonight. Family. But before I get started, I do want to share this with you. Family. We have hoodies commemorating 100 years of Negro History Week. This is a limited edition. We are only pressing up 100 hoodies, and it's not those hard hoodies that people wear either. It's nice, soft material. It's quality hoodies, and it's for men and women. I know that you see a sister on the screen. We're going to change the image to show both male and female because these are unisex hoodies, family. Make sure that you head on over to meltrek365.com to get your hoodie. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. I'm dropping the link in the chat, family. Make sure that you grab your hoodie. 100 years of Negro History Week. That's what we're celebrating. And people don't have this out there, family. Nobody's doing this, okay? Tight hoodie. We have T-shirts for sale. Okay, head on over to Meltrek 365. Get your T-shirt, which commemorates 100 years of Negro History Week. I just dropped the link to the hoodie in the chat. I just dropped the link to the T-shirt in the chat. I have both, okay? I have both. I'm pressing up both right now and as we speak. So I have both, family. Make sure that you get both. Again, we are only pressing up 100. 100 hoodies, 100 t-shirts. And the sizes are from extra small all the way to 2X. So grab your shirts, grab them for your children, grab them for your, for yourself, for your parents, for your grandparents. All right. This is history that we're living in a good time, as Bobby Emotep Fighter you always says. We're living in a very, very good time right now, family. Very good time. Very good time. All right, family, I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to share my screen with you, and let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll tonight. And let's tell some truth tonight. Let's tell some truth about what our ancestors actually did. So I'm going to share my screen. Here we go, family. Again, please thumb up this video. Thumb it up, thumb it up. Also, family, share this video. Share this video. If I were you right now, and I'd be watching this with my family, because Dr. Maad is getting ready to go all the way in. All the way in, family. So this presentation, I decided to call it a corrective history of Black American STEM innovators. A corrective history of Black American STEM innovators. And I chose to call it a corrective history because there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation circulating about what our ancestors achieved and what they didn't achieve. It's a lot of, like, people are over exaggerating and they embellishing it. And family, look, we don't have to lie about our history. Just tell our story, and let's make sure that when we tell our story, that we tell our story as accurate as possible. We have no reason to lie. We have no reason to embellish. Ashe? All right, family. So I want to dedicate this presentation to our great ancestor, Dr. Carter G. Woodson. In his book, The Miseducation of the Negro, he says this. He says that the chief value in studying the records of others, and he's talking about the records of others, talking about the past, right? The records of others is to become better acquainted with oneself and with one's possibilities to live and do in the present age. He says, as long as Negroes continue to restrict themselves to doing what was necessary 100 or 1,000 years ago, they must naturally expect to be left out of the great scheme of things as they concern men of today. So Dr. Carter G. Woodson, he encouraged us to learn our history, right? To learn our history. But even in the Miseducation of the Negro, he says, with the aim to imbibe the spirit of those heroes and sheroes to do what is necessary today. And so I do want to honor him. May the ancestors be pleased. Well, he's an ancestor, but may his life and his legacy live on forever and ever. Ashe. So family, I'm an educator, so I like to start off with definitions. You hear me talk about misinformation and disinformation a lot, and I'll introduce another term with malinformation. But if you look at this Venn diagram, right, and this was created by First Draft. They have a program called Disorder, which was started by Dr. Claire Huddle. I think she's a professor out of Harvard University, and she talked about the internet. She's been talking about the internet for years, but when she came on the show years ago, she talked about how the internet is a place that spreads misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. So she said that when you go online, view it as if you're entering a toxic environment, because she said it's an environment that is filled with nothing but misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. And I'm not going to say that you can't find information, right? Good information, solid information on the internet, but you have to comb through a lot of dis, and malinformation. So what is misinformation? Misinformation, again, which is defined by her organization, First Draft, they define it as the unintentional mistakes, such as an inaccurate photo, captions, dates, statistics, translation, or when satire is taken too seriously. So it's unintentional. It's kind of like somebody shares something, even like this whole Godfrey video, right? He put this information out. He was on Willie D Live's platform on YouTube, and he spewed all this information, and people took clips of the interview and they just started spreading it. And I don't think that when people started circulating these clips, that they were intentionally spreading, misinformation. I don't think they viewed it as I'm spreading misinformation. I think that it was done unintentional. I think that they looked at it, they thought, even though he's a comedian, he's saying some good stuff, it's making me feel good. So therefore, let me go share it, right, with my network. But that's misinformation, right? It's unintentional mistakes, right? It was unintentional mistakes, such as an inaccurate photo. In our case, we would say inaccurate information in a video. But when people do this and it's unintentional, now disinformation now is intentional. It is fabricated or deliberately manipulated audio, visual content, intentionally created conspiracy theories or rumors. So with disinformation, it's intentional, right? People are actually fabricating this bad information. Malinformation is deliberate publication of private information for personal or corporate public interests. It's deliberate change of context, date, or time of genuine content. Now, this is what I'll say about our good brother Godfrey. This is what I will say about him. I think that he is a victim of misinformation. I had the honor of meeting him when he came to Baltimore. His co-host, Dante, hooked it up so that my family and I could go backstage and meet him. He's a really, really cool guy. Both of them are, Dante and Godfrey, really cool people. And so I don't think that Godfrey intentionally put out bad information. I don't think he's that type of person. I don't know him personally, but given how he presents and the things that he talks about, I don't think that he would do that. So I think he himself is a victim of misinformation. And so the motivation for tonight's talk is his clips. He put out 2 clips concerning Black American inventors. And so I had to respond. And let me tell you why I responded, family. I saw the clip go viral, and that's one reason why I thought about addressing it, but then I brushed it off. And then my uncle, we call him Butt in the family. My uncle Buddy, he actually texted me the first video on the left. And when my uncle texted to me, I said, I gotta address this, because now it's the misinformation is not only on the internet, it's in my family now. My family sharing it with other family members. So I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta address this. So the motivation for this lecture tonight is Godfrey's clips about Black American innovators, which contained a lot of misinformation, to teach and to promote accurate Black American history. Again, family, we don't have to lie about our history. We don't have to embellish our history or over-exaggerate it, okay? We just need to be accurate. And I hope that tonight, that people are encouraged, especially those who are influential, to be more socially and intellectually responsible. All right? And so that is really my motivation for this talk tonight. Go ahead and play the first video.
Everybody around the world copies African Americans and then yet disrespects them. GPS is a Black woman. Well, 3D imaging is a Black woman. Laser eye surgery is a Black woman. Escalators, a Black inventor. Elevators, a Black inventor. The roller coaster, the cell phone, our video games is Jerry Lawson. Mary Van Brighton. In 1966, she invented the home security. You're talking about open heart surgery, Daniel Hale. Plasma, Charles Drew. We can keep going. Surgical equipment. Black people inventing, just constantly inventing. And they took everything and lied. And Black people are still thriving. Black women have the highest degrees in America. These are the same women that were operated on with no anesthesia, but they're #1 in academics. Atrocities that African Americans have been through, I'm surprised we are this peaceful.
All right, so hold on, y'all. I want to run that back. I want to run this back, okay? Because he said a lot.
Everybody around the world copies African Americans.
And I wouldn't deny this part, right? He said everyone around the world copies African Americans. I mean, we can't deny that African Americans, Black Americans, that we are a very influential group. So I have no debate here.
And then yet disrespects them. GPS.
And he said disrespects us, and that's true. But now he said GPS is a Black American, was invented by a Black American woman.
S is a Black woman.
Not true. And I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to this.
Well, 3D imaging is a Black woman.
3D imaging is a Black woman. But there needs to be some context there.
Laser eye surgery is a black woman.
LASIK eye surgery, she did not create this. But again, a misinformation.
Escalators, a black inventor. Elevators, a black inventor.
Now he said escalates and elevators. I would, now that he's saying that, a part of me is like, I need to go back and do some more research on that. But I really wanted to hone in on the people that the pictures of the people that he showed.
The roller coaster, cell phone.
When he said the roller coaster, not true.
Our
cell phone, not true.
Video games is Jerry Lawson.
Video games, Jerry Lawson. That's not true, guys.
Mary Van Brighton in 1966, she invented the home security. You talk about
she did, but she did it alongside with her husband, who nobody ever mentions, Albert Brown, because she was a nurse, he was an engineer. So who do you think really invented the home security system?
Open heart surgery, Daniel Hale. Plasma, Charles Drew. We can keep going. Surgical equipment, black people inventing, just constantly.
Now that's true. We are inventors. But let's tell the truth about what we invented.
And they took everything and lied. And
they didn't take everything and lie, family. See, we have to stop with this. Oh, they took everything from black people. The fear mongering. We got to stop that. They didn't. I have the patents, and I'll show you the patents. Nobody took everything and lied. No one did that. So that was a stretch.
Black people are still thriving. Black women have the highest degrees in America.
Okay, I agree with that.
These are the same women that were operated on with no anesthesia.
True.
But they're number one in academics. Atrocities that African Americans have been through. I'm surprised we are this peaceful. Everybody.
So I do agree with some of the things that he said, but it was a lot that I disagree with, and I'll bring the facts too. And so the first person that he mentioned in his clip, well, he didn't mention her by name. He just said GPS is a black woman, but showed a picture of Dr. Gladys West. Okay. And he's like, GPS was what she created. And then she just recently passed, family. I believe it was on January the 16th or January the 17th. She just passed at the age of 95. Okay. And he did another video doubling down, right? Doubling down basically that she created GPS. And that's the video that you see right here. So here we go.
Creator of the GPS. That's right, the Global Positioning System, the GPS. You know the GPS that's in your car, because we don't know where the hell we're going because people are too damn lazy to use maps. But thank God for Gladys. We don't have to use maps anymore. Hell, I use one on my damn horse. That's just a little joke right there. But she passed away, but I just want to tell her to rest in peace. She's a queen, that's right. The GPS system, she is the inventor. And I'm very proud to say that. Dr. Gladys West. She just passed away at the age of 95, so we know she had a really good life. She was a gifted mathematician, that's right. Inducted into the Air Force Hall of Fame in 2018. She's done a lot for technology. And I just want to let you all know that this is not Black history. This is American history. Y'all be good now. Howdy, everyone. This is Cole.
Okay, so he doubled down on that, right? That she created GPS. Now, he said she was a gifted mathematician. That's all facts, okay? But he doubled down on that. So he said it in one video, and then he said it in another video, right? That she's the inventor of GPS, right?
Around the world copies African Americans, and then yet disrespect.
Hold on.
So
not one, but a lot of other platforms, they got it right. They actually got what she did right. And one of those platforms was the Today Show.
This week, we highlight another life well lived. The next time you get in the car and plug your destination into the GPS to immediately find the fastest route, you can thank a pioneering mathematician named Gladys West.
Gladys grew up on a small family farm in rural Virginia, the daughter of sharecroppers.
Notice at the bottom, it says she helped. Keep that in mind.
As high school valedictorian, she earned a scholarship to Virginia State College, where she studied mathematics. A few years after graduating, Gladys was hired at the Naval Proving Ground in Dahlgren, Virginia, where she was one of only 4 Black employees. One of the others was a man named Ira West, who would become her husband of 67 years. While programming large-scale computers and analyzing satellite data for the Navy in the 1980s, West developed an increasingly precise and accurate map of the Earth's shape. Her algorithms and data mapping created the functions and laid the groundwork for the modern global positioning systems.
Laid the groundwork for something, and inventing something are two totally different things.
Or GPS, found in phones, cars, and in military weapons. West retired from the Naval Surface Warfare Center in 1998 after 42 years of service. At the age of 70, she went back to school, earning a doctorate from Virginia Tech. Dr. Gladys West, whose groundbreaking work paved the way for GPS, died last weekend in Fredericksburg, Virginia. She was 95 years old.
So I don't think people understand how research works. And typically with research, you have individuals in groups, right, or institutions. We conduct research, right, meaning that we explore ideas and we test ideas. We may implement them, come up with something, test them. But and sometimes when we implement our ideas, it may lead to a novel creation. But a lot of times, what I've seen as an academician is that research builds on top of research, right? You typically see a continuity of thought and work. That's what you typically see when you're researching. It's not like one person does something and boom, here's the invention. Typically, things build on top of each other. And I'm not saying that people don't conduct research and that may not lead to, like I said, a novel invention. That does happen, and it happens a lot. But it also, a lot of times, there's the research builds on top of things. So someone may create a piece of something that may lead to a system, right? And so everybody's kind of creating these ideas, and then someone may come along and pull these ideas together to produce, some sort of invention. Okay. And that's how a lot of times research works. So I just want to give you, the backstory on the NavStar GPS development. Let's start here. And NavStar stands for Navigation, Satellite Timing, and Ranging. And so in the late 1950s, you had the Sputnik launch, and that sparked interest in satellite-based navigation, Sputnik. Okay, so that launch occurred in the 1950s, and then people started saying, okay, I'm kind of interested in satellite-based navigation systems. So then in the 1960s, you had the development and operations of Transit, which was the U.S. Navy's first operational satellite navigation system. That was in the 1960s. You keep going into 1973, the U.S. Department of Defense, they formally approved the NavStar GPS program. That's in 73. Okay, in 1974, the U.S. Air Force was assigned as the program manager to GPS development. Okay, then in 1995, GPS reaches its full operational capability. Okay, it says with complete 24 satellite baseline constellation. So you had 21 active and 3 spares. Then in 2000, GPS signals were made available for full civilian use, okay, with improved accuracy. So it trickled down to us. Then from 2018 to 2023, then you had the introduction and development of modernized GPS 3 satellite with enhanced performance. Then in 2022, you had GPS constellations surpassing 30 satellites in orbit. It says to improve redundancy and coverage. Then in 2023 to 2025, it's been continued launches to maintain and expand the constellation. So they're saying now it's about 31 to 34 satellites in orbit. So do you all see the progression from the 1950s all the way up until 2025? It's a progression. So it wasn't this one person invented GPS. It didn't happen like that. What she actually did was help to create the technology which led to the creation of the GPS. Okay, so it's not, I don't want you all to think that Dr. Ma'at's goal here is to tear down what our ancestors did. My goal is to preserve accurate history, right? We don't want to run out here looking like fools. Gladys West, and then your child saying it. Dr. Gladys West created GPS, and then some smart kid comes along and say, actually, no, she didn't. It actually happened like this, and then they showed the progression. They showed the continuity of research, right? Ideas and research that went into creating GPS. And she was a very gifted mathematician. This sister was born in 1930 in Virginia, right? She lived in a farming community that was populated by mostly sharecroppers, okay? And she worked on the farm with her mom and with her dad. Her father worked on the railroad. Her mother worked in a tobacco processing plant. And in her particular community, in that day and age, the only clear options for a young Black girl's future was to continue farming or working at a tobacco processing plant. And when I read this, I thought about my grandmother, because my grandmother had a 4th or 5th grade education. My grandmother was born in 1933, and she had a 4th or 5th grade education. And she told me she was pulled out of school because she had to work on, she called it the tobacco farm. She didn't say tobacco, she said tobacco farms. That's what they had to do. So when I was reading the background about Dr. West, I started thinking about, my grandmother and the options that she had. And back then it was farming or it was domestic work. Okay, Dr. West was the valedictorian of her high school graduating class. She received a full scholarship to Virginia State College, which is now Virginia State University. And she's actually a double alumnus of the Virginia State University, which was then Virginia State College. She earned her bachelor's and her master's in mathematics, and eventually she earned her PhD in Virginia Tech. But this is the meat and the potatoes right here, family, of this great ancestor's work. In 1956, she joined the U.S. Naval Proving Ground, and these were the projects that she worked on. An award-winning naval ordnance research calculator that determined the movements of Pluto in relation to Neptune. She also worked on a U.S. ocean surveillance satellite called CSAT that provided data on oceanographic conditions and features. Then she also, look at this, family, she worked on in a satellite program called GeoSat that created computer models of the Earth's surface. Her later work led to the creation of a model of the Earth's shape called Geode, and this model was one of the foundations of the GPS system, family. All right. And so that's what she did. Okay, family, this is what she did. And so again, tonight's talk is not about discrediting, it's about telling the truth and being accurate when we go out here and we tell the world our history. In the video, Godfrey also mentioned 3D. He said 3D imaging is a Black woman. 3D imaging is a Black woman. And yeah, I mean, well, we got to add some context to that now. We got to add some context to that. And so what he was talking about, I actually need to put up here Dr. Valerie Thomas. Okay. This sister was born in Baltimore. And I actually had the privilege of seeing her receive an honorary doctorate from my alma mater, Morgan State University, which is also her alma mater. And I saw that a few years ago. All you got to do is go in your Google, type in Morgan State University, honorary doctorate, Valerie Thomas, and it'll pop up. So, and I was in the crowd when it happened. And so anyway, this sister was born on February the 8th, 1943, again in Baltimore, Maryland. She lived in a racially segregated community. She attended an all-girls school here in Baltimore called Western High School. And she enrolled in Morgan State College, which is now called Morgan State University. She received a physics degree from Morgan, and then she went on to George Washington University to receive her master's degree in engineering administration, and eventually she earned a doctorate in educational leadership from the University of Delaware. Here's the meat and the potatoes, family, of what she actually did. In 1964, she joined NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And there she worked initially as a data analyst, for orbiting a geophysical observatory, which was a series of 1960s scientific satellites. So you got to understand the context in which these sisters were working. Back then, everybody was trying to, they had these satellites they were sending out there. They were collecting data and analyzing data from those satellites, okay? While she was there, she helped to develop the image processing system for NASA's Lancet. And this was a program involving uncrewed scientific satellites designed to collect information about the Earth's natural resources. And then she became intrigued by 3D illusions, eventually leading her to invent what's called the illusion transmitter. And so, family, this was the patent. This was her patent that she applied for and received in 1980. As a matter of fact, it was published on October the 21st, 1980. This is the actual patent that you're looking at for her illusion transmitter. Now, let me give you some more context or some more information about this illusion transmitter. So Dr. Thomas's illusion transmitter, it uses a curved mirrors, okay, in light to create a real image that appears to float in space. All right. And then the image looks three-dimensional, but it's an optical illusion created by reflected light. So I want to say this again. She used these curved mirrors. I think in her patent they called it concave mirrors, but she used these curved mirrors in light to create a real image that appeared to float in space. Okay. And the image looks three-dimensional, but it's really an optical illusion created by reflected light, not a physical object or a hologram. Okay. And the system can also transmit this illusion to another location. All right. So so people say, oh, she invented 3D imaging. She created 3D movies. Let's give context of what the sister actually did. Okay. And this is what she did, which is major. All right. It's major what she did. Godfrey mentioned LASIK eye surgery. LASIK eye surgery. It was a sister that did that. Well, he's talking about the work of Dr. Patricia Bath. Shout out to Brother Onkaket. Brother Onkaket, for the past few years, have promoted Dr. Patricia Bath's work. And actually, that's when I got introduced to this sister's work through Brother Onk. So salute to Brother Onk. He's come into Morgan State University and talked to the students about Dr. Bath's work, so shout out to Brother Onkaket. Dr. Patricia Bath was born on November the 4th, 1952 in Manhattan, New York City. And she lived in a racially segregated community. She attended Charles Evan Hughes High School in Manhattan and enrolled in Hunter College. She received her bachelor's degree in science from Hunter College and a medical degree from Howard University. So this is some of her early work. She pioneered something called community ophthalmology after observing disparities in eye health between patients at Harlem Hospital and Columbia University. She attributed blindness to unequal access to care and helped develop the field of what they call community ophthalmology, right? To bring eye care to underserved populations. That was her motivation. She also co-founded the American Institute for the Prevention of Blindness. And in 1976, she helped establish this organization to promote eye health and blindness prevention, grounded in the belief that eyesight is a human right. Okay. It says academic and clinical trailblazer. She served as assistant professor of ophthalmology at UCLA's Jules Stein Eye Institute and Charles R. Drew University, becoming the first woman faculty member in ophthalmology at UCLA and later the first woman to chair ophthalmology residency program. Let's get into the meat and the potatoes. What did she invent, Dr. Ma'at? She invented the laser phaco probe beginning in the early 1980s. So what did she invent? The laser phaco probe beginning in the 1980s. Okay. She developed and patented the laser phaco probe, a laser-based device for cataract removal that revolutionized treatment and made the procedure more precise and less invasive. Wait a minute. The procedure was already happening. And what this sister did was she created the technology that revolutionized the treatment and made the procedure more precise and less invasive. All right. She was the first African-American woman physician to receive a medical patent. Give thanks. It says when the laser phaco probe was patented in 1988, she became the first African-American physician in the United States. I already said that, to hold a medical device patent. Already said that. Expanded technology and advocacy. It says throughout her later career and into retirement, she continued improving cataract surgery technologies, secured additional patents, and championed telemedicine and global eye care access, ensuring innovations reach populations with limited resources. So this sister cared about the people, man. She cared about the people. She cared about, they keep saying underserved people, but you know they're talking about Black folks. And what she did was create the technology, okay, that revolutionized the cataract removal, right? The treatment. It revolutionized the treatment and it made the procedure more precise, okay? And so that was what she did. And this is her actual patent, family, that you're looking at, okay? The laser phaco probe. It says this invention describes a new way to safely remove cataract from the eye using laser light. So it's a thin, flexible tube. It's gently placed into the eye near the cloudy lens or the cataract. It says laser energy is then sent through this tube to break up the cataract into small pieces. At the time, a special system flushes the area with fluid and gently suctions out the broken pieces, helping keep the eye clean and safe during the procedure. This method allows doctors to remove cataracts, moving more precisely and with less damage to surrounding eye tissue, making cataract surgery safer and more effective for patients. This is what she actually did, family. So we can't keep listening to the internet, man. Oh, we can't do that. We have to be historically accurate when we tell our story, man. We just have to. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, he didn't fight for us to have, a Negro History Week. He didn't fight for Black people to know their history, for us to 100 years later lie about it. He didn't. That's not what our ancestors fought for. He wanted our people to know the truth about our history. All right. Mary Van Britten Brown and her husband, Albert Brown. The reason I have them on the presentation is because Godfrey did make the comment that Mary Van Britten, he didn't say her last name, Brown, her married name, but he called her Mary Van Britten, and her name is Mary Van Britten Brown. But he said she created the first home security system. I will acquiesce. I will agree with that. She did. But she did it alongside her husband, Albert Brown. Okay. There's not a lot of information on them on the internet. I do know, or did read, that she was born in 1922 in Queens, New York. She grew up and lived in New York City for most of her life. She trained and worked as a nurse. Now, her husband, we really don't know a lot about him. And if you see something on the internet, just don't believe the hype. I'm telling you, we know little to nothing about him. We do know that he was born in the United States. When and where, it varies. Okay. We also do know that he was educated and that he worked as an electronics technician. So, you say, well, she created the home security system. But the husband worked as an electronic technician. Okay. So the Browns worked. Okay. So she worked late and irregular hours as a nurse, and police response times in the area were often slow. Okay. And so that created a need for a safer way to see and communicate with visitors before you open the door. Okay. And so that was the motivation behind why they created the home security system. So it says, combining Mary Brown's concern for personal safety with Albert Brown's background with electronics as electronics technician, they designed a system using cameras, monitors, two-way communication, and remote door control to help people protect their homes. They designed it In the mid 1960s, they filed for a patent in 1966, and the patent was granted in 1969. So you're actually, family, looking at their patent. And if you look closely, you'll see that both of their names are on the patent. Now, if you ask Dr. Ma'at her opinion, I think that as a husband and wife team, you're sitting there, you're pillow talking. She's saying, "Baby, I feel unsafe," and he's an electronics technician, right? What can we do, baby, to make you feel safe? Well, it'd be nice if we could see somebody before we open the door. We could see who it is and communicate. And I think as a black man trying to make that black woman happy, he said, "Baby, I'm gonna go ahead and design that for you," right? Because he was the one that had the electronics background. And this is not to minimize her contribution to this to the home security system, but let's tell the truth. People just kind of credit her, say Mary Van Brown created it, but then they won't tell you that her husband was an electronics technician. So when you talk about video and monitoring and communication and controls, you got to have a technician that designs that and test that out for you. So let's not leave Albert Brown out, okay? It says, okay, so this invention is the first home security system designed to help people protect their homes and watch for visitors. It uses a small television camera. Okay, so small television cameras, monitors, and a microphone so that someone inside the house can see and talk to a person at the door without opening it. All right. So again, he wasn't wrong. And when I say he, I'm talking about Godfrey. He wasn't wrong when he said that she created the first home security system, but he left out some information and it needed more context. Okay. He also mentioned the video game. Okay. He said video games is Jerry Lawson, and they call Jerry, his name is Gerald Jerry Lawson. So they call him Jerry. And he said that black man created the video game. No, he didn't. And we'll talk about that. Gerald Lawson, or Jerry Lawson, he was born in December in 1940, right? Born December the 1st, 1940 in Brooklyn, and raised in Queens, New York. He attended Queens College and City College of New York, but he didn't earn a degree. He's a member of the Homebrew Computer Club, one of the few black members, and interacted with Steve Jobs and Steve, I don't know how to pronounce that, Wozniak, right? It says he created an early coin-operated arcade game called Demolition Derby. All right, but let's get into his work. In 1976, Mr. Lawson joined Fairfield Semiconductor, and he worked there as an engineering manager, and he was a lead engineer at Fairchild's video game division. And he led the team to the development of the Fairchild Channel F, which was the first home console to use interchangeable ROM cartridges. So this invention paved the way for later cartridge-based and modular console systems. So he founded later on in 1980, he founded a company called VideoSoft Incorporated with Stephen and Daniel McElroy. And they worked as consultants and created game cartridges, even for the Atari and other game systems. And when I saw Atari, I thought about my brother. And because I used to get on his nerves when I was a little girl, I used to want to play with his Atari game system, and he would kick me out the room, And so when I saw that, Mr. Lawson and his I guess, I don't know if they co-founded this company with him. It says he founded the company, and maybe he worked with these guys, and that they were consultants and created game cartridges for the Atari. I was a little tickled by that when I read the Atari. But I just want you to note the words that he led the development, right, of the Fairchild Channel F, right? The first home console to use interchangeable ROM cartridges. He didn't create it by himself, or he's the inventor of it. Even when you go and you look at the patent, his name is not on the patent as the inventor. He was an integral part of the team. But you see this guy right here, Nicholas F. Talesfore, okay? They were there. And so you're looking at the Fairchild Channel F cartridge patent, which was awarded in 1978. It looks like they filed it in 76. Yeah, they filed it in 76, and it was published in 1978. But in this patent describes the plug-in game cartridge used I'm sorry, the plug-in game cartridge used with the Fairchild Channel F video game system. So instead of having only one game built into the console, this invention allowed players to insert different cartridges, each containing a new game. And I'm thinking, I'm an 80s baby, y'all. So I remember having like the Nintendo, and you had to put the cartridges in. Remember, we would hit the game at the bottom, we get some dust in and it wouldn't work, and we put the little cartridges in it to play different video games. So this invention allowed people to insert different cartridges containing a new game, because before, you just would have, the console would just have one game. You just would play it one, it's one game on that console. But when they invented the cartridge, now we can play different games, right? We can swap out the cartridges. Okay. So the cartridge actually stores the game's instructions and sends them to the console so it can run the game. And this made it possible for one console to play many games, which was a new idea at the time. This invention helped change video games from single-purpose machines into systems that could grow and improve over time. All right. This was another patent. And if you look at the net, this is the Fairchild Channel F console patent. Again, they filed for it in 76. It was published in 1978. If you look at the inventors, you don't see his name on it. And it's no disrespect. I just want us to understand what our ancestors did and what they didn't do. And it's okay, because we may not have invented the inventions themselves, but we played an integral role in creating the technology that went into creating these inventions. And that's great. All right. So this patent right here, the Fairchild Channel F console patent, this patent describes the Fairchild Channel F video game console, which was a system designed to run games using plug-in cartridges instead of built-in programs. Okay. And so that is what this is. Okay. It says that the console reads instructions from the cartridge and uses its internal electronics to display graphics, respond to player controls, and produce sound. This design allowed one console to play many different games, making video gaming more flexible and affordable for families. Give thanks. The invention helped create the idea of a reprogrammable game system, which later became the standard for home video game consoles. Give thanks. Give thanks. So then you have this brother right here, Jesse Russell. And so I remember getting into it, and I don't want to mention this YouTuber's name. He is not just even Godfrey. Godfrey put it out there. Yeah, black man created the cell phone. And there was another guy on YouTube. I'm not going to mention his name. He has a growing platform, but he even on his Instagram page put up a post and said Jesse Russell created the cell phone. So you know how I am, family. I go under the post and I said, brother, this is misinformation. You gotta take this video down, man. You're contributing to the circulation of misinformation. So he wanted to argue me down, not in the comment section, but behind closed doors. No, I just did a quick Google search. And it say right here that Jesse Russell did create the cell phone. And I said, golly, people don't even understand how to use search engines. AI will tell you anything. Is anybody, tell me in the chat, guys, AI will tell you anything. Have you all noticed that sometimes you'll put stuff in AI and then they spit you back some stuff and you, oh my gosh, where did you get that from? Then you starting to argue with AI and then AI say, oh no, you're telling the truth. You're accurate. How many of you have had that experience? How many of you have had that experience with AI? I know I have. And even people who've created AI will tell you that sometimes AI gets it wrong. We have to understand. I often tell my students that AI is as smart as the person using it. AI is as smart as the person using it. And I tell my students, don't let AI think for you. This is what I often tell my students: don't let AI think for you. I say AI is a tool to assist you. Just like when you get in your car doesn't think for you. It's a tool to get you from point A to point B, but you don't use the car to think for you. Your microwave is a tool that helps you warm up your food, but you don't let the microwave think for you. Your stove is a tool that allows you to cook your food, but you don't let the stove cook for you. Think for you. So you don't allow AI to think for you. You use it as a tool to assist you. Oh, okay, Unc, I see you in the back, Unc. Let me rock it. I'm almost finished, brother Unc. I see you back there, brother Unc, ready to rock and roll. So anyway, Jussie Russell did not create the cell phone. Okay, this brother grew up in 1948, and he in Tennessee. I'm sorry, he was born in 1948, and he grew up in Tennessee. He lived in an economically and socially deprived inner city community. He had a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. Salute to my electrical engineers. Y'all know I'm an EE major. He got it from Tennessee State University. He also has a master's in electrical engineering from Stanford University. He was hired directly by AT&T Bell Labs. We used to call it Bell Laboratories. And I remember some of my professors used to talk about Bell Labs all the time. And so at Bell Labs, he held a number of positions. He was the director of the AT&T Cellular Telecommunication Laboratory. He was the chief technical officer for the Network Wireless Systems Business Unit. He was the vice president of advanced communications technologies for AT&T and chief wireless architect. He led the team in 1988. Notice these key words, family. Leading something, contributing to something, team. He led the team in 1988 from Bell Laboratories that introduced the first digital cellular technology in the US. It says, although the first systems using the technology was not launched until 1993. So one of his famous patents was the base station, right? The base station for mobile radio telecommunications, which was published in 1992. He also had a patent called the mobile data telephone, which is in 1993, and wireless communication base station in 1998. Okay. Later, he became the president and CEO of Incorporated Networks. And in 2000, it says a company devoted to fourth generation broadcast units, communication devices, and wireless voice, video, and data communications equipment. All right. This brother, man, I got to say this, man. Salute to this brother. I think he's still living. He was granted more than 100 U.S. patents, primarily in wireless and cellular communication systems, broadband, and fiber wireless integration network architecture and base station technologies. Okay. This brother was bad. All right. And it says right here, his patents form part of the technical foundation for modern mobile networks, 2G to 4G. That's why they call this brother the father of 2G. He's a bad brother. And so right now, family, you're looking at his patent, the base station for mobile radio to telecommunication systems. This was in 1992. All right. And this patent describes a base station system for mobile phones, which is the equipment that connects cell phones to the larger communication network. The invention allows one base station to send and receive many calls at the same time by using multiple radio channels and digital signals. When you're on your cell phone, remember your cell phone is connected to a tower. We refer to that tower as the base station. And what's happening at that base station? The base station, it says this invention allows the base station to send and receive many calls at the same time by using multiple radio channels and digital signals. It also includes a smart way to control and manage these signals so calls are clear, more reliable, and easier to maintain. This technology helped improve cell phone service capacity and efficiency and became part of the foundation for modern cellular networks. Wait a minute. It became part of the foundation for modern cellular networks. We have Granville T. Woods. Okay. Godfrey said in the video, the black man created a roller coaster. Man, this brother was born in 1856. Do you think in 1856 we enslaved 1856, and you think we were creating roller coasters? That wasn't happening. And I know I'm gonna get in trouble when I say this, family. Y'all probably gonna say, "Man, I'm sending this clip to Godfrey." I don't care if you guys do. And shout out to my brothers and sisters on the continent and throughout, the diaspora of the Caribbean. Something I know, Godfrey's from Nigeria, and I'm not saying just because you're from Nigeria, you can't study our history. And I'm talking about Black American, African American history. I'm not saying that. You can study Black American history. I got a student right now. She's from Mali, and she's over at Morgan, and she's studying. She's she's doing a minor in African American history. And again, she was born and raised on the continent. And so I'm not saying that just because you are you're a continental African, or you may be an African that's not born in the Americans, you can't tell the story. But I'm just noticing online, and this is no disrespect to our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean on the continent, they mix some things up, and I get it. They're not from here, right? Like, I can trace my lineage back here when my cousin, peace be upon his soul, my cousin Benny, before he transitioned, he traced my mother's maternal lineage, my mother's maternal, not her paternal, but my grandmother's, my mother's, both her branches, right? And he traced them all the way back to, one was like 1804, the other one was 1805. And I promised that I would go beyond that. So why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because we've been here. We've been here. We've been in America for hundreds of years, and we know our history, right? And so then you have other people who come over and they try to tell our history, but they don't really know what was going on. In 1856, yes, you had free blacks. You absolutely had free blacks. Everybody wasn't enslaved in 1856, but you did have slavery that went on, and it was prevalent here in the United States. So much prevalent that they had a daggone civil war from 1861 to 1865. I mean, come on now. So this brother was born in 1856 in Columbus, Ohio. They said he was raised in Ohio. He later worked and lived in Cincinnati and New York. He left formal schooling at the age of 10 to begin apprenticeship and work in machine shops, railroads, and steel mills. Notice that it says he left formal schooling and he began apprenticeships. See, some of y'all feel like, I don't have to go to school. I don't have to do nothing. I'm just going to teach myself everything. He had an apprenticeship and he worked in railroads, steel mills, machine shops. And look at this. He studied electrical and mechanical engineering in New York City from 1876 to 1878, which helped prepare him for his career as an inventor. So no, I mean, look at the time. It's 1856. Was he at a college? No, but he left school. He did some apprenticeships. He studied for a couple of years electrical and mechanical engineering, and then he began his career as an inventor. But I want to get to the meat and the potatoes, which is the third bullet. His key inventions included the induction telegraph system, which allowed communication between moving trains and stations, improved telephone transmitters, later purchased by Bell, an electric railway and trolley systems, as well as electrical technology used in early amusement. Look at this, technologies used in early amusement rides. He didn't create the ride. He created a roller coaster. Let's say that again. Electrical technologies used in early amusement rides, all of which significantly improved transportation safety, communication, and efficiency. He founded his own business, family, the Woods Electric Company. It says through which he sold and licensed his electrical innovations. He held nearly 60 patents during his lifetime for inventions in railway telegraphy and electrical systems that improved train safety and communications. Granville T. Woods is a bad brother. And right now you're looking at his patent, family. You're looking at this brother's patent. Okay. This is his patent for the induction telegraph system in 1887. Okay, in 1887, which allowed trains to communicate while moving and made rail travel safer. All right. So, family, this is my last slide, and I'm gonna close out. The functions of history. And I actually have this. This is going to be published in a paper that will be available in June. It's going to be published by the American Society for Engineering Education. And I talked about the function of history and then also the value of history in educational context. And so that paper will be published this June. And when I bring up Ankh, I want him to talk about a paper that we already have published, because some of this information that I provided tonight is in a paper that Brother Ankh and I published with the National Society for Black Engineers. All right, but let's get into this. The functions of history. The functions of history. Okay. History, one function is that it supports self-understanding and offers models of possibility and action. Now, if somebody is feeding you false history or falsifying history, and right now I'm thinking about Dr. Amos Wilson, his book Falsification of African Consciousness, and he talks about, you know, how when someone lies about your history or they distort it, you know, the damage that it can do to your consciousness, right? So because history is supposed to support your self-understanding and offer you models of possibility and action. And how can you have that if somebody's lying to you about your history? If they're over exaggerating, embellishing, or omitting, right? History also explains the state of the world, the present state of the world, right? Knowledge of the past clarifies how current conditions and systems came into being. History also enables individuals and communities to make informed decisions by drawing lessons from past successes, failures, and patterns of actions. And lastly, family, it provides predictive power that can be used for empowerment, allowing people to anticipate outcomes and intentionally shape their future in ways that advance their communities and collective well-being. How can any of this be possible if we're lying about our history? If you have somebody over exaggerating it, and how can it function the way it should function? So, family, with that, I just want to close by encouraging us to be more responsible with the information. And I'm going like this: information that we take in, the information that we circulate, and especially those of us who have a voice. And I know that we say all of us got voices. No, we all do have voices, but voices like Godfrey, because he has a huge following, his voice is amplified. His voice is amplified. So people are listening. Just today, someone, Pan-African Think Tank, I think that was his name, Pan-African Think Tank or Thinker on TikTok, sent me the video on TikTok. The video went viral on TikTok of him saying, oh, Dr. Gladys West invented GPS and a black man created the cell phone, and it went viral on TikTok. And so we just have to be more accurate in our historical framing. We have to operate with intellectual integrity when we tell our story. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all for listening. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Brother Ankh, I see you over there. You cutting up with somebody. Who you over there cutting up with, Brother Ankh? Who you over there cutting up with, Brother Ankh? Can't hear you. You got to unmute. You got to unmute, Brother Ankh. You got to unmute, Brother Ankh.
I'm unmuted.
Yeah, you're unmuted now. You weren't unmuted just now. The whole crowd.
I didn't say I was. Okay. You always trying to prove something. Jesus Christ. Man.
You know, I'll be ready. Look, I'll be like,
here come Unc.
Yeah. Peace to you, Unc. How you doing, warrior? What's going on?
Up, man? You way nicer than me.
You think I'm nice?
Listen, there are consequences for things we say. First of all, big up to your platform. Okay. Truth to power. Big up. right, to all your followers, and big up to the community skeptics and the pseudo killers. So, as we use our scientific mind, because we all have it, we all have the ability to tap into that fundamental piece that has allowed humanity to survive for over 350,000 years. You had to have a way to collect data, whether it was in written form, whether it was, okay, I'm gonna transmit to you. This is how you get to that water right there. That's the good water. Don't go there. You're gonna die. Go right there. And the had a community having fresh water, right? You had to have a way to get it through that. So we all have minds that we can tap into that are scientific. We also have believing minds where we believe everything. There has to be a separation there. When humans figured out a way to separate it, took off. It just did. Very important. So there are consequences for things that you say. There's a flat earth conversation going around on a regular basis, right? But if you understood your history, there's a wild anti-vax campaign going around, right? In our community. Wild white people put it together, and wild white people put together the flat earth. But if you understood your history, you could take a critical look at the wild information. So you talked about Miss West, right? Let me share my screen for Miss West. Serious person, right? Do we know how serious she was? You did a great,
I did a whole. They've been sitting.
you did a great job.
I'm about to say
I'm
they've
gonna
been
show you
sitting.
something. Don't
Okay,
worry
show.
about it. I ain't gonna rock him to sleep.
No.
Right?
What I'm saying is I don't want it to be repetitive.
I ain't gonna rock him to sleep. I'm not gonna read. That's what you doing? That's how you doing it?
Okay, go ahead.
Where I'm at? You must not have been listening to me. Where I'm at?
No, where you at? Let me see it. Go ahead.
All right. No, I'm saying where I'm at in the conversation. What am I saying? I said there are consequences for things you say.
Right.
If you don't understand, right, your history, then you will make the mistake to follow stuff like what? Flat Earth.
That's
right?
true.
Okay. You'll follow Robert F. Kennedy Jr. about vaccines, right?
That's true.
I wanted to show you something here.
Okay.
Right? Not put no words on the screen. Can you see this?
Yes.
That's the IBM 730 stretch computer. And it actually puts together precise calculations for the shape of the earth. Now, you know Miss West programmed that. I want everybody to get a visual on that. She programmed that. And it helped us get a precise measurement of the shape of the earth. Now, if you go back to Egypt, right, Eratosthenes, right, he actually did that calculation to get the circumference of the earth. That's in Africa, right? Okay. You know, the shadow and the well, and you get the circumference, you know what I'm saying, of the earth. So this is African history in a raw, okay? Miss West, she actually helped us understand the precise calculation inside the surface of the earth. So if you just that's why it's important to get it right. Because if you don't get it right, then we stuck. You get it? So if you get Black history right or African history right, then you can proceed forward and pushing the community forward. But if you making it up, it's not right because she's actually a Navy scientist. And guess what? The number one thing scientists want from us. Man, get their shit right, man. That's all they want from you. They don't want you to act like they did something they didn't do. Trust me. A doctor, a scientist, somebody that invented something, man, please don't mess it up. That is the most disrespectful thing you can do is to mess up what the hell they did in their career. Because they have unlocked a room, right, with that information that allows you to move to the next room.
Yep.
You get it? They do not unlock the room with you making up something. Now, I hear a lot of people say, hey, man, to make you feel good. No, to make you feel good does not unlock the room so you can build upon. It keep you stuck in the room.
That's right.
So if you got a vested interest in keeping us stuck, keep messing it up. Keep acting like somebody did something they didn't do. The vaccines, if they understood our history of inoculation, understanding how to stimulate the immune system with the actual pathogen itself, we may not be as afraid of vaccines as we are. Because you would recognize that my man from West Africa, Nismus, right, he brings techniques with him. The slaves from Africa in West Africa, they had understood the small starting point of how to stimulate your daggone immune system. And if you understood that real accurate fact, they didn't invent vaccines, they didn't do that, but they actually figured out a way to fight the pathogens using the actual pathogen, which is actually counterintuitive. And if you understood that, then you would understood that vaccines aren't harmful to you. So getting our history right for me is the most important thing, because there are consequences when you mess it up. There are consequences, specifically when you talk about inventors and scientists and doctors and stuff. If you say they did something they didn't do, that is the most disrespectful thing you can do. I mean, see, we don't get it. The feel-good part of it is for you. But I thought it was about the legacy of those who showed you're supposed to be standing on. And if it's about their legacy, you have to get it right, because once you get it right, then it opens up the room so you're no longer vulnerable to wild information like wild vaccine information, wild flat earth. The kids say, wait a minute, it can't be flat. They was in Africa when they figured out the circumference of the earth. Wait a minute, the Miss West program, it's called geodesy, right? To get precise measurement of earth. What are you talking about? You become the fool in the community then. So you got to treat the fools like fools and treat the intelligence like intelligence. Now, I know they've been sitting there, but I know how to get them up.
No, I'm with you, brother Unc. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you, brother Unc. But it's another thing that I wanted, and I had sent this to you.
I got it already. What you need? You know I got it. And that's an even wilder one. That you talking about the video with the play that.
You got it. Okay, all right, hold on.
No, play it. I don't got it, but play it. I got the,
Okay, yeah, it's another wild claim that Godfrey made.
I think the white boy might have played with him too. Because he didn't know his history.
Yeah, it was another one. Hold on, here we go. Can you see my screen? Can you see it?
Is that the one by Homo sapiens? I can see it, but I don't see the one with Homo sapiens. That ain't the one with the Homo sapiens.
It's two of them.
It's not even Homo sapiens. Let me see the first one.
Yeah, hold on real quick. It's two of them. Let me make sure I'm sharing my audio. And because I know people will be like, I can't see it, Doc. That'll be something. So here it is. This is the one.
Freeze it.
Yeah. I don't know, but hold on. Let me drop this in our private chat, because for some reason the volume isn't playing on my end. So I'll drop it.
You had it the first time. It's something. You think you got to share the value?
Yeah.
I see it's on mute. Whatever it is on mute. I think I seen it on mute.
No. I know what's happening on my end. I'm going to put it in the back chat so that you can grab it and just show it on your end. Here it is. Bam. I just put it in the back chat. And I'll grab the other one and throw that in the back chat. But yeah, just grab that one and play that on your end. But it's another claim, family, that Godfrey made. He was on somebody's platform and he said Black people have been on this planet for several million years. And so anyway, we need to address that as well. So yeah, let me go to this one really quickly.
I see they got the music in there. That's gonna be a problem.
You think it's gonna be how many seconds is it?
I don't know. Let me rewind.
Because I don't want them to end it. You know how they do. It'd be.
Yeah, they're gonna hit you with the ha 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 ha. Tell you what, I can't even rewind it.
Yeah, you can't rewind it. So what happens is you just gotta let it run and then just play and go from there.
Goodness.
Let me grab this link to this one right here. This is another one. All right.
So I'll do this. Let me share the screen. You don't mind, because they be sitting.
Yeah, click that other one too. Click that other one that I sent you. I don't know if it's music in that one too.
So okay, conversation is they talk about humans. Okay, now if you study like we study, we know what that is right there. That's actually a picture from the Nairobi Museum in Kenya. And it's not actually Homo sapiens sapiens. I believe it to be Australopithecines, because they specialize in Australopithecines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Leakey actually founded that particular museum. And what he did was he lived in the Kenyan village. His kids grew up speaking Kenya, like he more African than some of y'all. Okay, I'm just going to say it. Live with the tribe, speak the language, understand custom and tradition. Socially, right? He's in that sweet spot. But they're talking. I think he's talking to what's his name? Used to be DJ Vlad. He's talking to Vlad, and they're having this conversation about 7 million years old. These Australopithecines are old. But that's not Homo sapiens sapien. And I think Vlad is playing with him because Vlad know better. But Godfrey just sitting there like a sitting duck. Godfrey don't understand that's not actually us right there. That's a Australopithecine. That's not a Homo sapiens sapien. And so Australopithecines, they are about like 5 million years old and all that. But he puts it with European here. How old are Europeans? And then they like kind of move to genetics or something like that. But if you don't understand history, he's just sitting there running circles around you. You get that? Like he's running circles around him. It's borderline disrespectful at that point. Like, what are you talking? I'll be like, what are you talking about? Why are you taking Homo sapiens and mixing them with Australopithecines? Right? Why are you saying and humans are 7 million years old? Humans aren't 7 million years old, but the Australopithecines are a few million years old, though. This is the site in the Kenya Museum. Let me see if I can kind of play it. All right, let me see if I can get here. All right.
Around 7 million years old.
We're 7 million years old. All right. Happy birthday, Africa. How old are Europeans?
The genetic lineage of Europe mysteriously transformed about 4,500 years ago.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, hold on.
You're 4,500 years old.
Wait, how old?
And we 7 million.
Well, African civilization was 3150 BC. I think this is a more complicated question.
All right. So, listen. Godfrey didn't understand what he said. He said 45,000. He said 4,500. And I think they're just showing pictures here. But the pictures don't match what they saying, y'all. Is what I'm trying to show y'all. They show you some modern pictures. They show you some Australopithecines from the Nairobi Museum. And here it go right here. See? All those who study know what this picture is. This is in the... And I bet you don't even know where that's from. Doc, you remember when Irritated Genie did the same wild thing when he went to Kenya?
Yeah.
Right? He stood right here in this picture and say, see, this is European stuff right here. They just found the monkey stuff. He did that to us.
He sure did. I remember that.
See, it's the same thing repeating itself because people don't know. That's in Kenya right there. All right? They butchering an animal. This seems to represent that you had hominids that was butchering animals before Homo sapiens sapien, right? It's in a national museum right here. They specialize in Australopithecus. They look at these as being their great ancestor. So if you don't know your history, a person to put a whole bunch of pictures up there, then we put 7 million years old humans. No, it's not accurate at all. So I understand this because I understand the history. And I look at the history through the lenses of science. So as long as we look at the history through the lenses of science, then you can't get tricked. Watch this, by those who will stunt your growth.
That's right.
Right? And I have to say it, Doc. A lot of these communities that we got into and came up with, they stunt your growth.
Yeah.
Okay. The fact that you would even have to waste time around a cult or around those who misinform you, like say the Moore Science Temple, right? That'd be Noble Drew Ali, misinformation on accuracy and history, the Nation of Islam, misinformation and accurate history, right? The New Wapians, misinformation. The time you spend around these organizations is the time you could spend in, say, one of our classes. How about that? Or in a scientific class. Because like they like to say, they hid our history. That's a red flag. Whenever you hear them saying they hid our history from us, for me, it's a red flag because they didn't actually hide it from you, right? It's in a secret vault called the library. Okay? It's in universities and colleges. It's there because what great nations do and understand, take for instance, Songhai Empire. If they conquer another nation that has knowledge, you don't burn it. The Roman Empire, but the Arabs, they don't just burn down the knowledge when they go into Africa. Okay, they don't burn it down. They bring it in. They translate it. They try to understand it. They watch because they know it will help unlock the room to get to the next stage. Okay, so it is important. Okay, to preserve knowledge. And the United States understand that. Why? Because they study ancient history. You don't just go and burn down libraries and stuff. You don't just mess up the knowledge. So that means you have to start over again. Just like you don't just throw your ancestors away. You had to start over again with that knowledge.
Right.
That's why it's important as you grow older. And if you feel like you wanna leave something for the community, you have to be accurate with it because you set us back, right? You know, like I always say this, Doc. I say, man, look, let me say this to you, Doc. And, you know, I draw a hard line. And it's important because the hard line gets you straight. Religious thinking, there is no hard line. It's blurry, it's murky. It could be this God, I believe. No problem. When it comes to accuracy and science, right? And trying to get it right, how is that not important? If we're saying that if we understand our story correctly, then it will help us move forward. Then why would you build a shaky foundation then? Why would you allow people to continue to present bad information and not say nothing about it? Just because you think them to be an elder. An elder is somebody, and at least in the African traditions. I don't know about now. Right now, anybody could be a daggone elder. But from the way I understood it to be, it was a cherished place to be in the community. And that your leadership, the way you carried yourself, the things you brought to the community was so serious that without your input, that room would not get unlocked and the community would not move forward. So you was deemed an elder and you moved on to the realm of the ancestors and you could always think about what they did when they reached the ancestral realm to help you solve problems now. That's how I thought it was. But if you're a wild person making up stuff, they foundation on backwards, new age science, new age religion, how is that helping the community? And then why y'all so afraid to say, that's not what a serious elder would do? Why are we afraid of that? Well, you know what I'm saying? It is why we're afraid to say what they're teaching is so inaccurate that it actually makes the community go in this direction. Right? Like we can't unlock the room. We at the ceiling. We see the door. We know it's something, and you gave us something that was so wild that we can't move forward because we did not get the right information to unlock the door. The John Henry Clarks, he gave us the ability to unlock the door. The Dr. Benz gave us the ability. The Ivan Van Sertima, all of them gave us the abilities. Now, if you don't look at Ivan Van Sertima's work, recognizing his a doctorate in anthropology, meaning that he could be absolutely wrong, but he gave you a way to get to it. You would say, using what I know he understood, let's check it. Do you say, well, you got that wrong? So guess what you do with that? You move it over to the side. But having the ability to move information when it's wrong with somebody you love to the side, you get to unlock the door. But if you continue to hold on to bad information that don't push you forward, right, and you keep promoting it, that's a pseudoism. Because that's 30 years ago he made that work. If more information has came, do you have the ability to critique it? Do people put pressure on you when you say, wait, I haven't got that wrong? Oh, man, go here come the pressure, Doc. What do you mean you disrespecting our elders, huh?
Oh, yeah, that comes all yeah. We get that a lot.
See?
We get that a lot. We get that a lot. Play that second video that I sent. The second video in the chat. I don't think in the private chat. Play that second video. And that claim Godfrey made the comment that white people are closer to monkeys than we are.
Oh, shoot. Oh, man. Let me see. I see him in the library, right? Hold on. That's in the library, right?
No. So I have it in the private chat. So if you
I clicked it.
Yeah, let me see.
Let me show you what I clicked.
Yeah, it's a white boy. He has a white guy that's at the bottom. It say leave black people alone. And the white boy's at the library. Yes, the white boy's at the library. Yeah, it's a white boy at the library.
A bookstore or whatever. I don't know. Phones. I don't know. But it's
Scroll up a little bit, Unc, so we can see.
This situation is, I don't know where they're at. They look like they're in some kind of, I don't know, some little place, a bookstore or whatever. I don't know. Phones. I don't know. But this white dude called his brother a monkey. You don't see the brother, but he goes, "What you call me, a monkey? What you call me, a monkey?"
You just smacked my phone. What did you call me, monkey? You just called me a monkey?
And so the white dude, who was tough when he called the person a monkey, started walking away, running away, and now playing victim. He said, "Why'd you call me a monkey? Why'd you smack my phone?" He smacks his phone, and that music comes on with the British lady. It's pretty funny. And then he chases outside. He said, "Let's go outside. Let's go outside and talk about it." He's like, "No, you had to in my face."
Okay, so I'm a monkey, right? I'm a monkey, right? What's up? I'm a monkey, right? What's up?
And unfortunately, in this video, we didn't get to see the brother beat his brakes off. You know, he just played. And you know what I mean? He said, "I called you a monkey because..." Stop calling black people monkeys, white folks. Stop. You are closely related to the monkey. You are. It's you. You are genetically closely related to monkeys. Black people have no connection to the monkey. It's you. This has been scientifically proven. I don't know why you keep doing this monkey. It's you that are the monkeys. Yes, I'm saying for the white people that say that, this is specifically for them that say call us monkeys. You are genetically related to monkeys. It's all facts. Monkeys have thin lips. You shave the hair off, it's white. And they take that does not belong to them. Have a good day.
What's your thoughts on that?
The rhesus monkey. That's what they.
You said that's what they talking about.
The rhesus monkey. The white people. The rhesus monkey. First of all, I'ma just say it. What problem does any African American who claim to be in tune with nature or promote the idea that natural is better have a problem with a daggone monkey, first of all? What problem would you have with a monkey? Last time I checked indigenous culture, they use everything in nature. Everything in nature told a story to help them push the community forward. Like, it ain't like something jumped out of nowhere, popped up from the sky and started teaching you. You learned lessons from things in nature. You took examples from the world you lived in, whether it was a monkey, a gorilla,
ants,
bees. You watch how they worked, and you like, oh, they working together. You know what I'm saying? That's how you first learn. Okay, so what problem would you have with a monkey?
Well, brother, I gotta say this because I do want to interject on that. I think that people have an issue with the monkey because of, remember those racial. We have been victims of racial caricatures, correct? When white people would say, "Y'all look like a monkey. Look at them wide. Look at you," and literally would draw racial caricatures of us with thick lips and wide noses. Even though all of us don't have thick lips and wide noses, right? All of us don't. Clearly, you see that my nose is not a wide nose, but because of these racial caricatures, the last thing black people want to be, the last thing we want to be compared to is a monkey, given the history, given the trauma, and that's what I'm thinking. When you say who has an issue with, monkeys, I don't have an issue with a monkey. But if I'm living in a day and age where black people are being compared to monkeys and showing newspaper clippings, and they doing minstrel shows and all that, then black people don't compare me to a monkey. So I think that that's a trauma response. Like, I think that us not wanting to be compared to or even associated with the monkey, I think that's a trauma response to what we've gone through in this country.
Let me get back to my point. There is no excuse for your ignorance, whether it's a trauma response. Nobody actually cares. See, nobody actually cares what your response is or why it happened. You just got to be able to get it right. Because there's no excuse in being successful. I'm just saying, no, I know you do. I know that's where you at. But I'm saying there's no excuse for being. I just would like to say this. Winners never have excuses. Losers always have excuses. That's what I learned in my life. Like, you can make an excuse out of any and everything. But if you got enough sense to study trauma, then I'm thinking you scamming me now. Because now you got enough insight to understand how trauma can actually affect you and affect the generation, how trauma can be passed down. You mean to tell me you took enough time to study how trauma is and how it really works, but then ignore, you understand the scientific facts behind trauma, but you ignore based off an excuse you're trying to give on why you saying I don't like monkeys or monkeys, we ain't the monkeys.
I don't.
agree with
No. Well,
I don't agree with
you don't have to agree. But what
I
I'm
don't,
saying
I
is,
don't agree with
it's
that,
not
Doc.
you don't have to
That's
agree.
not a good excuse.
It's a. Who said it's an excuse? You
No, I'm
asked.
saying I don't see that in circles is trying to understand who we are. I see that in circles where they playing with you.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm clear on that.
That's my point. That's my point, Doc.
I'm clear on that. That people
That's my
probably
point.
could use that as an excuse. But what I'm saying is, I just want to make it clear that I wasn't using it as an excuse. What I'm saying is that you do have, and that's a fact, that Black people don't want to be compared to monkeys. They find it very insulting given the history in America. You can't ignore how history shapes consciousness. You can't ignore that. Psychologists will even tell you there's an intimate connection between history, culture, and personality. There's an intimate connection between history, culture, and personality. And so history shapes how we feel, what we believe, what we think. And so you can't negate that fact that people, Black folks in particular, they will get insulted. Hold on. They will get insulted when you compare them to a.
Yeah,
I'm not. You're not. They will become insulted if you compare them to a monkey, given the history. So it's not an excuse. It's something that's facts. It's something that's facts. So you may view it as an excuse, but I view it as trying to understand the Black experience here in America. Period. Period.
So it's okay.
And hold up. And I will say this, that I also believe that in the age of information, though, ignorance is a choice. I do believe that. So I do believe that in the age of information, that ignorance is a choice. But I will tell you that you have our elders, however you want to call them, elders or people in the community. If you compare them to a monkey, they will be insulted. And I'm giving you one reason as to why. They're not thinking about science in the way that you're thinking about science, Unc. You thinking we go down on Pennsylvania Avenue right now, those young brothers, if you go down there and call them monkeys, they thinking about it in a scientific term. They're not thinking about science. Our people aren't there. You get what I'm saying? So I'm telling you why they aren't there. So that's the point of that is why we have to promote scientific literacy. You got some people that look at science as a white thing. They don't, even in our community.
I thought you was talking about the clip though.
No. I'm just speaking in general when you said, well, why would you? So
I was talking about the clip. The clip showed this man say that white people was close to the monkeys,
which was bananas.
So my point is, if you don't want to be a monkey, then why you make somebody else a monkey and make up a lie based around that? That's all I was talking about. I wasn't saying people that have trauma because because white people called us monkeys. Hell, the first person that was called a monkey and put in the character was actually Charles Darwin. If you really want to keep it a buck and keep it like it really was. So yes, the t-shirts, we monkeys, but that ain't what that man was talking about. No. That man said he's offended that that the white boy called him a monkey, then he turned right around and called the white boy a monkey. It's the same thing, fighting the same thing. That's my point, Doc. That's what I'm not understanding.
No, I'm with you. But when you kind of posed the question, I wanted to answer why. You said, well, why would you get offended? And so I wanted to answer.
Well, you know what? At times, I like to use my life as a reason on why I didn't like the word monkey. So let me say this for me, ladies and gentlemen, okay? The reason I didn't like the word monkey because it was like, who the hell want to be a monkey? Who the hell want to be an elephant? Who the hell want to have any type of close relation or think that they come from an animal based off religious thinking? They had the real trauma is saying you popped up off the ground in the dirt. How come that's not trauma? How is it not when your kid asks you where the hell babies come from or where humans come from, you tell them they popped about the damn ground? Is that not that's got to be one of the most traumatizing things in the world. They say you popped about the damn ground and somebody came from the heavens and you became a living soul. That's got to be wild trauma at the end of the day.
Shut up. You became a living soul. Shut up.
What now? That put you in the real state of ignorance for real. So yeah, trauma is all around us, Doc. You know what I mean? So yes, of course, I understand that. I understand we don't want to be, but people don't want to be compared to animals, period. Black people, white people, nobody thinks they're actually animals.
Yeah, and human beings are animals.
Because we're human centric. That's the real reason. We're human centric. We think we're better than everything. The sun travels around the earth because we're earthlings. We're earth centric. We're human centric, right? We think everything is about us. Like I was trying to point out, the overall point I was trying to make, that in indigenous cultures, they try to develop a relationship with all in nature.
Facts.
They don't have a problem with any animal. They have totems of monkeys, the great monkey spirit, the great spirit of the antelope, the lion. They use the symbolic representations of human character.
The bamboo.
The baboon, right? That's what I was saying. So I'm saying, in Africa, we didn't have a problem with monkeys. You get my point?
Yeah, I'm with you.
When we go through colonialism, based off of some of the things you just said, right?
Yeah, we
got a problem with monkeys.
Yeah, we got a problem with monkeys.
But I was saying that the people that claim to be natural people, why you got a problem with the monkey? No matter what white people say, you was like, yeah, that's my cousin. So what? See, if you're on the natural thing like you claim, but I'm not worried about this particular animal here. A sister asked me that. I was fighting against Charles Darwin evolution. We ain't no monkeys. She say, I'll never forget, oldest sister, sitting in class, was in a shrine of Black Madonna, running my mouth. They was like, all right, I would debate the whole class on whether evolution is legitimate. I used to say humans came from everywhere on the planet. White people came from this part of the earth. Black people came over here. They be like, all right, they set me up, Doc. I'm in front of a whole class teaching. Lady did like this. Question and answer session. Hey, I thought you was natural. Yeah, I'm natural. The best way to go.
I'm the best.
She set me up. Your older sister set me up, Doc. She said, so why you got a problem with a monkey? Doc, I did like this. She got me. I was like, I don't know. And I'm saying my trajectory changed from that point going forward. You know what I'm saying? So maybe in the dark recesses of my brain, having people call us all kind of horrid things, including monkeys and that. Also having ignorance about the natural world. You feel me? A lot of that is it's a lot of factors on why, because white people don't want to be called monkeys neither. White people don't want to be thinking they animals. Yeah, it's a lot of it got to do with religion, religious thought processes, the way we was raised, the way we were raised separate from nature. And I'm just simply making the point that when you claim to be studying traditional societies, whether it be in America, Australia, Africa, right? They have a profound relationship with everything in nature. They respect it. They didn't overhunt. Europeans came and shoot all the damn buffalo. The Native Americans shot what they needed to eat, right? Use it for the tents for that. Okay, that's good. Let's keep. They understood their relationship. Now we're in the midst of global warming based off of losing that relationship. Now we're trying to get the balance back. Plastics all in the oceans because there's a loss with profit. Okay, it's more important than the relationship you have with nature around you. Little do you know, if you mess up the water, the earth keeps a constant amount of water. It gets recycled. So if you're messing up the water that you got to drink, no matter how much you're trying to filter it out, that's going to be a problem, Doc. There's going to be a problem with global warming. There's going to be a problem with everything if you don't keep that. There's a lot to learn from ancient peoples. I want to close with this, right? And the only way you can learn from ancient peoples, and this goes with the conversation, is to have the information right so you can have an understanding.
Oh, I agree with that 1,000%, brother. I agree with that 1,000%, man. And I think that we just, and I just want to reiterate this for the listening audience. We don't have to lie. We have nothing in our history to be ashamed of. We don't have to lie about our history, and we don't have to embellish our history. So I'm gonna double down on this since Godfrey doubled down on the things that he said. No, Dr. Gladys West did not. Oh, hold on. Let me mute you out. No, Dr. Gladys West. She did not invent the GPS, but she played a critical role a critical foundational role. Let me be clear, in making GPS possible. So no, Dr. Gladys West did not invent GPS, but she played a critical foundational role in making GPS possible. In the video, yes, Dr. Valerie Thomas, she did create 3D imaging, right? But it's important to clarify what kind of 3D imaging, right? She did not invent all 3D imaging. She did not invent the holography. She did not invent modern digital 3D movies, right? So we had to cut that type of stuff out. No, Dr. Patricia Bath did not invent LASIK eye surgery. She contributed to the technology that helped advance it. Yes, Mary Van Brittan Brown, she and her husband, Albert Brown, they did create the first home security system. Remember, I said that she was a nurse, he was an electronics technician. But no, Jerry Lawson did not, or Gerald Lawson did not create the video game, but he created a technology that changed how video games could exist and be distributed. No, Jesse Russell did not invent the cell phone, but he invented critical technology that makes cell phones work at scale. Okay. And lastly, Granville T. Woods did not invent a roller coaster in the 1850s. What he did was he built inventions that helped make early electric roller coasters possible. So I just wanted to reiterate those things, Brother Ankh. In the presentation, family, if you didn't get an opportunity to watch the presentation, go back to the beginning of this video, watch this presentation, share this presentation, right? We want to each one teach one. And the way that we do that is by sharing it. You take the link, drop it in your chat, your family chats or your friends chats. Also, family, again, we're celebrating 100 years of Negro History Week. Negro History Week was established on February the 7th, 1926. So in about 6 more days, it will mark the centennial of Negro History Week. And in honor of Negro History Week, family, I have these hoodies. These hoodies are mean, family. The material, everything is mean. I'm only pressing up 100 of them. These are unisex hoodies. In fact, I'm going to swap out the image tomorrow, because I had people asking me, Doc, I see a woman, it's on a woman. Do they have them? Do you have them for men? It's a unisex hoodie, family. All right. It's a unisex hoodie that commemorates 100 years of Negro History Week. I just dropped that in the chat. And we also have a t-shirt that commemorates 100 years of Negro History Week. That is in the chat. So family, make sure that you click on the link. I'm only pressing up 100 hoodies and 100 t-shirts. All right. So make sure that you click on the link, grab your hoodie, grab your t-shirt. We're also celebrating 50 years of Black History Month. Black History Month was established in 1976. So this month marks the 50th anniversary of Black History Month. All right. And so we'll have another design coming out shortly. So family, make sure that you grab yours and thumb up this video before you get out of here. Thumb it up, thumb it up. Also, family, make sure that you share it and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so that whenever I go live, you will be notified. Also, family, make sure that you subscribe to the community of skeptics, man. Oh my gosh, Brother Ankh and them have some powerful discussions over there. Y'all been beating the brakes off of the pseudo FBA information, Brother Ankh, and I've been seeing it. You and Dr. Asar been going ham. And so, family, make sure that you subscribe to the community of skeptics, Brother Ankh and the pseudo killers. They have some beautiful discussions, powerful discussions, and they bring on a lot of experts. Brother Ankh, what you got going on in the community of skeptics? What's happening on the channel? What's coming up next?
Well, I'm about to have some Decatur gonna come back through, so I wanted to stir up the conversation again about Egypt and Black Egypt. I think we kind of talked about this too, Doc. Let me say this real quick, though.
Go ahead, please.
Absolutely, we do understand why white people called us monkeys, because they felt like we was animals, which is wow, right? And couldn't learn and was backwards and was uneducated. So that's why that's why there's that reference there. But I'm not quite sure if people is locked into that today. I'm not quite sure of that. What I do know is we need to get it straight. Back to the point. So wanted to stir up the conversation again. There's a wild guy, you know what I'm saying, Chief X. I gotta say his name because he tried to include you and me in there like we didn't respond. First of all, you're not responding to none of that.
No, I'm not.
Way too busy, too much stuff to do, real stuff. Yeah, not to play around with Ankh and Chief X as they waddle in the middle of the street. Not quite sure who the nut is, who not. You know, when you arguing with two folks, you don't know. You know, that's a real thing right there, right?
Right.
So you don't got time for that, man. What you do, you really, you out there really changing. See, these people listening, man, they don't know, man. They don't know who you are. I told you, you are a life changer, right? People don't know that. And that's how you know a person is a life changer. Look at the people younger than her around her
Mm.
and see what they say. When you come into the room, their eyes light up.
Mm.
I mean, since when do people get to class super early?
2 hours early. 2 hours early, Aunt.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, everybody, I'm like, what time? I'm like, y'all here kind of early, and they just want to talk to Dr. Miyad. They want to have a conversation, like their eyes is open, their brains is open, and I heard intelligent conversations. And what I really dislike, Doc, I dislike for people on YouTube. They say, "Oh, you going against the youth." No, I'm going against the stupid youth. I'm never going against the intelligent youth.
You guys show that picture. I don't think you ever showed that picture of you standing there with all the youth like this, or on a Zoom with all of them. Do you ever show people those pictures? I'm
Nah,
talking
man,
about like
I let people talk
oh,
crazy, man.
oh man, you gotta show those pictures. You had like one class, 30 something students, another class. Remember, you at the top on Zoom and everybody down there. And then you
Like,
over there
you got
Morgan in the
packed up in
like,
here.
yeah, you got.
And they be coming in there pent up too. But you better head it up. What? That's why you be meet me out right here. Doc ain't strict. But the kids, I see the growth in them. And the thing that's crazy is when I tell them things they never heard before, they first respond is, "What? You don't know what you're talking about?" They be like, "Oh, let me go see."
Let me go see. Yeah.
Their investigation skills is there. On YouTube, you got 5 people they talking about. And so I just like where this is going. You know, I like the science literacy part. I like the way you've expanded the little teeny mustard seed vision. You know what I'm saying? It was a little vision of mine. Let me see. And I always told you from day one, I said, you will be the most important part of what we do. And you didn't understand it. I said, God.
I didn't know what you were talking about back then. I didn't know what you was talking about back then. I was like, what are you talking
like, what?
Oh,
looking at me like, what? Man, yo, like, yeah. And lo and behold, right? It's the woman, okay, with the character and the following of the youth, man, that's unprecedented. It just is. It's serious work right there. And you got us in spaces that I could never get us in, like the real science journals, like the real science conversation, like you really you be at these conferences with real scientists, the high level. I'll be like, oh my goodness, she right there.
And I'm up there texting you from the conference, like, look at this song, look at this, like, look at this.
I'm getting it to him. It was been about 15 years, Doc. We
almost got 15 years in. That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't like to talk. I like to talk about what you do, right? But I don't want to. I want people to keep looking at me the way they look at me. Oh, you just so old. I like that. That's my advantage. Right? He ain't doing no work. Okay. I'm not tripping because I don't want to use that. Putting away the science on the community is enough, Doc. Just for the record. Because you know what I also realized, Doc? They never knew what they was looking at when they looked at John Jackson, Hubert Harrison, and now Dr. Ben. They never knew what they was actually looking at. Right? The books, they claim to read the books, but they only read the part of the book they was comfortable with. I know because I did. I like the religion part of it. Never got into the evolutionary part of it. Right? So I know how it is to have a Dr. Ben book and then be in a class and they use that same Dr. Ben book to beat you up. Yeah, hey, so you know the books you got. What you mean? You got Ivan Van Server, I got it. You got Diop's up. I brought up, bring all your books in the class. So I'm talking about Shrine of Black Madonna history class. I brought all my books. Boom. Man, that man let me make a fool of myself for 3 straight weeks, man. See, everybody be getting away. Like I didn't get away like you. I had a whole class. It was about 30 people in that daggone class, man. And the numbers kept growing each week as I was challenging them. As I was challenging what they were saying. A lot of people in the class were agreeing with me, right? The veterans in the class wasn't, and the numbers kept getting bigger. And I'll never forget that day where they finished me off. You know, I had to take the small step backwards. Like,
that's why it happens, though. It happens to the best of us, but that's how you grew. That's how you grew. You know. So come on, man. Come on, man. So family, make sure you join me back here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Sunday. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about next Sunday, but I want you all to pull up on me same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Family, make sure that you subscribe. Unc, I appreciate you as always for who you are and what you bring to the community and what you bring to these platforms, because these platforms are bananas out here, and I applaud you. I applaud you going in these spaces and trying to educate these folks. And I tell you all the time, I say, Unc, I don't have the patience. I can't do it. But that's what we got you for. So, brother Unc, we appreciate you, man. We love you. And family, I love you too. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you share this presentation and make sure that you grab your 100 Years of Negro History Week hoodie. The hoodies are unisex. The hoodies are unisex. And the
Doc,
t-shirts are
wait,
unisex
hey, Doc,
as well.
you messed it up. If you to put it, see, this is wild. It's got to be sexism or something.
What's up?
Listen, if you to put a man picture on there,
come on, that part.
Seriously, all jokes aside, because I was thrown.
I know where you're going.
If you put a man picture up there and say unisex, everybody know what to do. If you put a woman picture up there, I was like, put that woman hoodie on.
That's what it is. But it is. It's unisex. It's unisex, family. So make sure. Yeah, make sure I'm putting both. So I'm changing it to a unisex, like a couple. So you see the woman and you see the man. So everybody will know that is unisex. So family, make sure that you get your hoodie, get your t-shirts. We only pressing up 100. And I do see that orders are coming in. I get it via my, I'm looking at my Gmail right now. So you all are definitely coming in and ordering it. So family, make sure that you grab it as soon as possible. Because once we sell 100 t-shirts, once we sell 100 hoodies, that's it. All right, family, I'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace and Black excellence. And also, family, happy Black History Month. Peace.
Hey, big up.